Hello, everyone. Another story here, quick one. This one from Lisa. Hi, can I ask you a question? I was in an abusive relationship with a narcissist. My son made a great life for himself. He seems to resent me for putting up with dad's crap, yet he has a very close relationship with him, even though his dad abused his half brother to the point of brain damage. It was like I met a man just like my mom. I left him in 1999 and am now just recovering from all the mental abuse. Thank you for listening. So what we have here is a woman who was in a long-term abusive relationship with a husband, apparently beat a half-brother into brain damage, and the son now holds resentment towards the mother for for not for not stopping it sooner or putting up with the father's crap sooner, yet the father maintains a close relationship with the father. And from what I'm gathering here, the relationship's not so great with Lisa. And, that could sound like an odd thing to somebody on the outside. Like, why would he, if he's so mad at her, have a better relationship with him and be on his side other than her? Well, narcissism works on different people in different ways. He's obviously being manipulated by him. He says he's made a great life for himself, but obviously he needs something from his father. And look, this really shouldn't be all that surprising, because even us, for as much as we know these relationships are toxic, we don't end them. We go on for years and years and years, especially when the narcissism and the abuse starts as a child. Your son, don't be mad at him. He's been abused like you have. So he's under the narcissist trap just the way you were for many, many, many years. You left him in 1999. That's what, 17 years ago? And you're just now recovering, because you're just now coming to terms and probably figuring out what narcissism was and how it works. So him being your son and going through this as a child, it shouldn't be all that surprising that he would be buddy-buddy with his father, even though he knows his father abused you, he knows his father caused brain damage. I mean, if he beat the half-brother to the point of brain damage, I would ask, why wasn't he charged with a police call? What were the circumstances around that? I don't know if you still talk to your son or how close your relationship is with him, but I would suggest to you that you tell him. And it shouldn't come from you, because, this guy, I'm not even going to call him a kid because he's a man now, but this guy has been manipulated the same as you were since childhood. And now you're part of this dynamic of the abuse. And I'm not saying you're the abuser, but you're there. So his mind has already been set from how this dynamic works, I guess, maybe who's at fault. And he probably doesn't know why he thinks the way he does. He's obviously really conflicted with it because he resents you for putting up with the father's crap, but yet he still sides with the father. And narcissism doesn't make sense when you're involved in it. Your behaviors let me say that better. The behaviors from the result of narcissistic abuse don't make sense rationally when you're immersed in it. It's easy when you sit here and you hear these stories from other people and you're like, well, that's obvious. Well, he should get out or she should get out, and this is what's going on here and this is what's going on there. But when you're emotionally wrapped up in it, you don't see it for yourself. And a lot of that comes from how the narcissist abuses you, takes away your self-esteem, takes away your confidence, makes you feel like you almost need them. And I think that's probably what is going on with your son. Your son needs to be able to discover narcissism and the tactics of narcissism on his own. Now you can guide him towards the information, to the medical the psychological definitions of it, and let him do the research himself. But if you sit there and you try to argue, well, your father did this, and that means this is narcissism here and there, he's going to shut down because he's already has built-in defenses to you and within the family unit. Narcissism and the light being shined on it never comes from somebody within the narcissistic circle that you're directly involved in. It comes in when people finally try to go out on their own and figure out what the hell happened. You know, that's why these narcissism blogs on YouTube are so popular. And when people hear their own stories being told by other people in their own lives, then they're able to make the connection with it. Then they're able to realize, like, holy shit, this is the same thing. This is the same story that I went through verbatim. And this happened to me almost verbatim. And that happened to me verbatim. Then the abused who's still in that narcissistic circle will begin to see the light. Now, that's not going to help you in your relationship with your son right this second, but you're going to have to be patient with it. And I'm sure after 17 years being away from this guy and whatever happened when you were still with your ex-husband, okay, he's not gonna be able to just see through it when it's coming out of your mouth, because you're a part of it. So you don't know, rightly or wrongly, how he views you. He might view you as the enemy. He probably does, and views you as a major part of the problem. And the fact that he's rationalized it, that it's more your fault for putting up with it than his fault, than his father's fault for actually enacting it, you know, tells me your son probably needs some space with it. But you can direct him, say, listen, you don't have to take my word for this, okay, but do me a favor. At least go online and look up narcissism and personality disorders, borderline, histrionic, narcissistic personality disorders. Read the definitions of them and see for yourself, and do some research. Don't even direct them to my channel. Just tell them to go on YouTube and put in narcissism and look at some of even the other channels, and let him hear some of these other stories and how this works. And then he might have a chance to see the light and be able to say, you know what, this guy is bad news and he needs to be held accountable. And let me find out what really happened with my mother. And he'll be able to at least understand why you did what you did, why you weren't able to fight back the way he wanted you to fight back. Because he really can't fight back the way he wants to fight back. Okay, but this is a discovery he's going to have to make on his own. You can guide him, you can show him the way, but you're not going to be able to sit there and right off the bat being able, like, this happened and that happened. You remember when he did this? Well, that means he's going to shut down. Let him learn about narcissism, and then he'll come back and then ask you questions about what happened, and then he'll be able to accept it and be able to have an honest, open dialogue, and maybe both of you can heal and repair your relationship from there. So thank you for your question. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for your situation. Believe me, I understand the pain involved when you can't have the relationship you want to have with your own child, whether it be a young child or an adult child. And it's frustrating because you know you're the one that's been abused. You know you're the one who's been taken advantage, and you just feel like you're howling at the moon and nobody cares. Okay? In a situation like this with your son, less from you is more. Show them where to go. Tell them to look up the information. Okay? But don't get into your personal stuff with what happened where. He'll come to you with that. Okay? If he wants to accept it. Now, you're going to also have to understand that he might be too far gone. There might be other things in play where maybe he wants money, maybe he wants something else, maybe he's benefiting from the relationship. You're also going to have to keep in mind at the beginning, he might be lost. And I hope that's not the case. I really do. And if he's already blaming you knowingly for putting up with his father's abuse, that tells me there's a good chance that he can be saved and he can figure this out. He just doesn't know what to do with it yet or how. So I hope that advice helps. I hope that and give you a little clarity, maybe some ideas of what to do going forward. So thank you for your question. I appreciate it. Anybody else who's watched, thank you. Please leave any advice or comments down below. And if you want to support this channel and have an immediate video of your own made for you, you know what to do with the PayPal link in the description box. I'll get it right out to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again real soon. Bye.